Hello. In this video, I'm going to discuss the best skills that you can get in cybersecurity in 2023. I'm going to break it into the 3 different parts of cybersecurity that you can go to, plus the foundational skills. Timestamps below. That is the business side, the technical side, and then the governance, risk, and compliance, or GRC side within cybersecurity. Below, I do have a free course list that you can go through that walks you through all of these skills in much more depth than this video will. So make sure to go and download that free. Also, this is one of my last how to get into cybersecurity videos or career advice videos, as I am going to be changing up my direction. So I'm going to go in depth as much as possible because I'm not going to make another one of these. Let's get into the foundational skills that you need for cybersecurity. You must have these before you go on to the second part of the video and choose what niche you want to go into to gain those skills. The core skills are, number 1, you're going to really need to know hardware, understanding the binary system, being able to assemble a computer, understanding what the internet is and how it works, what a hard drive is, what RAM is, what a CPU is, and how it all works together. You don't need to be expert level skills. In cybersecurity, a lot of attacks actually go after these just basic hardware components. The next fundamental skill for cybersecurity is networking. If you don't know what a network is, it's essentially just how data gets from one computer to another. Knowing what a switch router is, what DNS is, what DHCP is, and all of that makes a network run is going to be very valuable, along with the OSI model, the 7 layers, and the TCP IP model. Understanding cloud and how also that plays in with networking, how to do basic troubleshooting for networks and different types of network architectures. The third fundamental skill for cybersecurity is knowing about operating systems. Different operating systems have different vulnerabilities. Knowing like the basics, like how to set up users, what group permissions are, how to configure disk and file systems, working with different system logs and connection tools, kind of like desktop support type of things. The next core fundamental skill of cybersecurity that you will definitely need to know is the basics of system administration and infrastructure. Doing backups and the importance of backups along with the different types of backups is important. Understanding how to make the most of system administration and also cloud, because that is where most infrastructure is going, is the cloud. A lot of people recommend the CompTIA A+, and that is a fabulous certificate. I have it, but if you are wanting to get into cybersecurity, I think it's a little bit overkill, and I actually wasted way too much time studying for that technical certificate. I really wish I hadn't even really gotten it because it's just an insane amount of details, and unless you're going to go into a security position that really deals with hardware, you don't really need the CompTIA A+. Personally, I like the Google IT support certificate because it goes over all of these things and it's so well thought out. It's one of my favorite courses within that I've taken probably ever. It's what every course should be. So if you have difficulty following other courses, maybe try out this certificate. Also, it does prepare you to get a job as a desktop support or help desk. If you really need a job, it's a great place to start, and there's tons of success stories all over the internet. We're also in a really good job market. Maybe that won't be the case in a recession. The next foundational skill you're going to need for cybersecurity is going to be the core concepts of cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is a huge field. You're going to need to know network security and infrastructure, the basics of what governance, risk, and compliance is, data protection and encryption methods, a little bit of cryptography, vulnerability and configuration analysis, application security. A great place to study is the CompTIA Security Plus. It is an entry-level certificate, and I really think it just teaches the fundamentals so good. There's tons of really affordable cybersecurity training for the CompTIA Security Plus. I do have a video on how to study for that certificate in the most effective way. Now, that was the first part of the video in the fundamentals and core parts that you need to know before going into these this second part of the video. So the second part of the video is going to be broken down into three main parts, and that is the business side and the skills you need to succeed at that, along with maybe some careers you want to look into. The second one is the technical aspect, how that is broken up in different careers and skills you're going to need that for that cybersecurity portion. And then the third part is going to be governance, risk, and compliance, the skills you're going to need to land those cybersecurity careers. Let's get into it. The first one is business. When I say business, I mean roles that are directly related to sales and profit of a company. The two main jobs that I think about is cybersecurity sales, technology sales, and cybersecurity marketing positions. For cybersecurity sales position, you're going to want to know the foundations that I talked about in part 1 of this video. But then you're also going to want to know the basics of sales, have good interpersonal communication skills, but you're also going to need to know the product that you're selling and how it relates to your customer and their infrastructure and how it can help them the most. Having that cybersecurity knowledge along with really good interpersonal skills can really go a long way. And a really good place that I have found, and I have been through the program, is Course Careers. They have a technology sales course and it teaches you everything you need to know about sales. They have had great success with a lot of people in the past. Now, if you're interested, I do have a coupon code of $50 off with a NES50, so use that and you can get $50 off. The next really good role within the business side is going to be cybersecurity marketing positions. A good marketer knows their product really well, so they know how to sell it and they know what type of person buys that and what would intrigue them. All of the best marketers in the world know that product that they're marketing in depth. Combine that with cybersecurity and you really like the business side and you like promoting different products, maybe cybersecurity marketing position could be for you. Some skills you're going to need for this job is you're going to need to know the foundations, but you're also going to need to know human psychology. You're going to need to know the product in depth and how it relates to the audience. You're also going to need to know persuasion and then the principles of ADA. You're going to need to know how to create like content for marketing purposes, become a content marketer maybe for cybersecurity. That is becoming a whole role on itself. You're going to need to know up-to-date like social media tactics and how all of that works, along with maybe advertisements and how to run ads, depending on, of course, where you go. Marketing is a huge field, so you could be doing any number of those things. That completes the business side of cybersecurity skills that you could start with. The second part is the technical vertical within cybersecurity, which is what most people that watch this channel are probably interested in. The technical part of cybersecurity is broken up into two parts, and that is the blue team and the red team. The red team are essentially the ethical hackers, and it's what most people know about when they hear the word cybersecurity. You're out there trying to find vulnerabilities and hack into people's systems to find weaknesses so that company can patch it up. Is also called the offensive side. The blue team, which isn't really glamorized, but honestly I think has a lot of really good careers within it that also aren't maybe as stressful as the red team is. It doesn't have as much of a culture as the red team though. A blue team defends against the red team. So they're going to be monitoring traffic, looking for the red team trying to enter. They're going to be going through logs. Maybe they will be doing firewalls and firewall rules. There are so many different jobs on the blue team, a lot more careers in the blue team than there are on the red team. Some really good skills for the blue team to have if you want to go into the cybersecurity career is network security, system security, logs and log detection, cyber threat intelligence systems, a little bit of application security and how that works. Digital forensics is really good, especially if you want to become an incident responder, or if you want to work in cases, you are the one collecting all of the computer data and then going through the chain of custody, really good. You're gonna need to know operating systems. Linux is really large. Windows, Mac OS, and their performance monitoring tools. Some common tools that could be used for the blue team are Wireshark, command line network tools, and virtual networks, and knowing the virtualization and the cloud aspects are also really beneficial. Knowing Splunk or security information event managers. Knowing how to read different logs and then set up dashboards within this alerts you for any malicious traffic, really beneficial. Knowing the fundamentals of ethical hacking and penetration testing for the blue team is also a really good place to start, because knowing how the red team works will help you do a better job as the blue team. Next, we're going to go into the red team skills. Essentially, you're trying to emulate an adversary's attack, and so you have to know, I would say, a lot more skills than a blue team. And the more skills you know, the better you're going to be hacking into systems. Where when you are on the defense side, usually your scope is kind of limited to one thing. For ethical hacking and penetration testing, you're gonna have to have pretty decent scripting. Python is the easiest to learn. Metasploit is written in Ruby. So knowing how to create your own tools is very beneficial. You're gonna need to know the basics of databases and SQL and how to interact with different databases. Because in ethical hacking, if you can get to the database, it's like gold, but if you don't know how to extract data from that database, completely pointless. You're gonna need to know web application skills along with the architecture of web applications. The OWASP top 10, knowing all of those vulnerabilities is also really beneficial. You're gonna need to know the basics of digital forensics, helps you avoid being detected trying to get into the network. You're gonna need to know the basics of cryptography and all of that fun sort. I do have a video that goes more in depth about blue team and red team jobs. I'll put it right here in the corner. That completes like the technical aspect of cybersecurity and just the broad overview of the skills you're going to need. If you want to go deeper into the skills for a specific job, then you really want to reverse engineer the career that you want. So go to Indeed and then look up everything that is needed for skills and go through about 100 job postings and just copy all of those skills and see which ones are recurring most. Also reach out to associations that are within that field. So digital forensics probably has an association. Then also reach out to people and ask them like what their opinion is on what the best skills are. Each industry is also different for the skills that require for different positions. So for me to go over all of them, it's just kind of intense. That concludes the technical portion. The next portion, and I decided to do this as a third part because it's not technical and it's not only business, and that is governance, risk, and compliance. Most people find it very boring and kind of cringe at the thought of doing audit work, writing policies, or anything of that sort, but some of the highest paying jobs are in GRC because it's not overhyped. Essentially what GRC is, it's making sure business goals and IT goals are aligned. Some really good skills that you're going to need to know for GRC is going to be highly dependent on the industry. For instance, if you're going to go into healthcare, the rules and regulations and frameworks are much different than you're going to go into the banking system or the Department of Defense. They're all very different. That being said, knowing different frameworks can be extremely beneficial, along with like the NIST documentation and being familiar with the standards used for the federal government can actually help you within the private sector a lot. Knowing about operational risk management and technical risk management would also be really good. A deep understanding of the risk management lifecycle, super important. Knowing how to design, implement, and engineer security risk management processes aligned with standards, procedures, and frameworks, very beneficial. Knowing how to lead audits and engagements is what they call them. Frameworks such as NIST, CIS, ITIL, COBIT, ISO 27001, PCI, DSS, all of those types of standards are really good to know, but you don't need to know about all of them. Very dependent on the industry that you're in. If you have no idea which industry that you want to go into, it might be good to look at your current industry that you're in and then figure out what like risk frameworks that they utilize within like your company and your industry. Some really good notation if you want to further this is NIST 800-53 and NIST 800-37. That concludes the cybersecurity skills that you can get. I couldn't just name 5 skills to get because it's such a broad field. Below, I do have a free course list that you can go through that walks you through all of these skills in much more depth than this video will. So make sure to go and download that free. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.